Today, we are diving deep into one of the most misunderstood and honestly most important topics in women's health, menopause. For decades, it's been just surrounded by fear and confusion, especially when you bring up hormone therapy. But what if the story we've all been told is just fundamentally wrong? Okay, let's get into it.
You know, we tend to think about aging in terms of what we see in the mirror, right? Wrinkles, gray hair, things like that. But this question right here, it flips that entire script. It asks us to stop focusing on the cosmetic stuff and start looking at the real drivers of our long-term health. Because let's be honest, the goal isn't just to look younger, it's to live healthier for a whole lot longer. And this is exactly why that shift in thinking is so critical. See, menopause isn't just about your reproductive years ending. It's a state of hormone deficiency. And the science is becoming crystal clear on this. That massive drop in hormones isn't some gentle transition. It's a huge factor, a primary driver even, for the very diseases we all fear the most as we get older. We're talking about the big ones: heart disease, dementia, brittle bones. So if this is the problem, why is the solution so incredibly controversial? Well, to understand that, you kind of have to travel back in time. All this fear around hormone therapy, it isn't based on dozens and dozens of different studies. Nope. It actually all traces back to one single, massive, and as we'll see, deeply misunderstood clinical trial that completely changed the course of modern medicine. And this is it, the Women's Health Initiative, or the WHI. When the first results came out back in 2002, it caused a global panic. I mean, millions of women threw out their hormones literally overnight. But here's the one tiny detail that got completely lost in all that chaos. The hormones they used in that study, they weren't identical to what a woman's body actually makes, not even close. They were a mix of non-human and synthetic stuff. And that single difference, as you're about to see, changes everything. Let's really break this down. The estrogen they used in the WHI was a drug called Premarin. And as this chart shows, it comes from, and I'm not making this up, pregnant mare's urine. It's got a whole cocktail of horse estrogens in it. Now compare that to bioidentical estradiol. It's made from plants, and it is chemically, molecularly, 100% identical to the estrogen your own body produces. This isn't a small difference, it's a huge one. Because while studies have linked Premarin to a higher risk of blood clots, that same risk just doesn't show up in randomized trials with bioidentical estradiol. Okay, so that was the estrogen. The other half of the WHI's drug combo was a synthetic progestin called Provera. Now, please hear this. Provera is not progesterone. They are not the same thing. This slide shows it perfectly. Provera is a synthetic molecule that actually gets in the way. It blocks your body's natural progesterone receptors. And what do you know? It's linked to an increased risk of breast cancer. Now look at bioidentical progesterone. It's the real deal, identical to what your body makes. It fits into the receptors perfectly and turns them on. And the evidence? It suggests it's actually protective against breast cancer. So you have two totally different molecules with literally opposite effects. So what about that terrifying breast cancer headline that came from the WHI? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. When scientists went back and reanalyzed the data, they noticed something. A lot of women in the study had already been taking hormones before the trial started. So they cleaned up the data. They looked only at the women who were new to hormones. Now, look at this graph. The top line is the group on hormones. The bottom is the placebo group. Do you see it? They are right on top of each other. There's no real difference. Once they accounted for that one little detail, that statistically significant increased risk of breast cancer, poof, it was gone. So you see, there's this huge body of evidence that completely contradicts that initial panic from 2002. And this quote, it just perfectly captures the frustration that so many experts feel. It's like the medical world is still haunted by the ghost of one flawed study, while ignoring decades of better, more relevant science. Okay, so it's not just about what hormones you use. Turns out, when you start taking them is just as important, maybe even more so. It's a concept that scientists call the timing hypothesis, and it explains so much of the confusion you see in the research. This timeline lays it out so clearly. Think about it. If you start hormone therapy right when menopause begins, your arteries are likely still healthy and flexible. The hormones act as a shield, helping to prevent plaque from ever building up. It's pure prevention. But if you wait 10, 15 years and then start giving those same hormones to someone who already has hardened, unstable plaque in their arteries, well, then you might actually shake things loose and slightly increase the risk of a heart attack in that first year. And guess what? The WHI trial mostly enrolled older women, many of them way past menopause. The timing was all wrong. And this timing thing isn't just for your heart. It's crucial for your brain, too. This quote from the huge Cache County study is just wow. It found that women who used hormones earlier in their life had a lower risk of developing Alzheimer's down the road. But trying to start hormones later to treat someone who's already having memory problems, it didn't seem to help. It all comes back to prevention. You have to protect the brain and the blood vessels before the damage is done. Okay, so we've nailed down that using the right hormones at the right time is key. But so often, this entire conversation is just about estrogen, estrogen, estrogen. The reality is, a woman's body needs a whole toolkit of hormones to run properly, and some of the most important ones get completely ignored.
Let's start with progesterone. The standard medical thinking for years has been that progesterone's only job is to protect the uterus. So if a woman has had a hysterectomy, the advice is usually, oh, you don't need it. This is a massive and frankly a dangerous misunderstanding of how this hormone works.
Your body has progesterone receptors everywhere, in your brain, your breasts, your blood vessels, all over the place. And as you can see here, the evidence points to a whole bunch of amazing benefits. The science suggests it's protective against both breast and ovarian cancer. The big PPI trials showed it has benefits for the heart. And just for your day-to-day life, it's incredible for improving sleep and has this wonderful natural calming effect. Progesterone is not some optional extra. It is a critical hormone for your entire body's health.
All right, now for the hormone that is maybe the most misunderstood of them all, at least when it comes to women's health. You hear the word testosterone and your brain immediately thinks of men, right? But the truth is, women make it, women absolutely need it, and women really suffer when their levels get too low. I mean, just look at this list. The benefits are amazing. Yeah, sure, it's important for libido, but it goes so much deeper than that. It impacts your mood, your energy, how sharp your brain feels. It is vital for keeping your bones strong and holding onto muscle as you age. It even helps fight off that dangerous belly fat that builds up around your organs. But the most mind-blowing fact on this list, the one that just completely shatters all the fear, is the last one. For decades, doctors have used high-dose testosterone to treat advanced breast cancer. Yes, you heard me right. It's been used to fight cancer, not cause it. So when you start to put all these pieces of evidence together, it becomes so clear that we need a complete shift in how we think about menopause and hormone health. It's really time to move away from all this fear and start embracing a proactive, science-backed approach. Now, this is a tricky point, but it's so important to understand the research. You might see some studies that say women with naturally higher levels of their own estrogen have a higher risk for certain things. And people misinterpret that to mean estrogen is bad. But what's really going on is that those high hormone levels are often just a marker for something else, like insulin resistance. It's just an association. But when you look at studies where they actually give bioidentical hormones to women who need them, you consistently see a protective effect. It's a huge difference. And really, that's the ultimate point here. The whole goal of modern hormone therapy isn't just to make hot flashes and night sweats go away, even though that's obviously a huge relief. The real, long-term prize is proactive health. It's about restoring what your body is missing to protect your heart, your brain, your bones, your entire system from the chronic diseases of aging. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? Once you actually look past the scary headlines and dig into the real science, the different types of molecules, the timing, a completely different picture comes into focus. And it's a picture that makes you just scratch your head and wonder.
Wait, why isn't this the standard of care everywhere?
Which leaves us with this final thought to chew on. If we have the knowledge and the tools to potentially prevent so much pain and chronic disease, what's really holding us back? Is it just old, outdated medical training? Is it fear passed down from that one study? Or is it a healthcare system that's just much better at treating sickness than it is at creating health? It's a really big question, and one that I think every single one of us should be asking. We've really only just scratched the surface today. If this stuff fascinates you and you want to go deeper on hormone optimization and the future of proactive medicine, please make sure to subscribe and follow our channel for more. Thanks so much for watching.